to live and to love the gospel of the Lord.
Heart to Heart, a Catholic media ministry, presents an inspiring gospel reflection by Father Michael Sparrow. Father Michael is a Jesuit priest working as a writer and retreat master at the Bellarmine Jesuit Retreat House outside Chicago.
The Lord be with you. And with your spirit. A proclamation of the Holy Gospel according to John. Pilate said to Jesus, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "Do you ask this of your own, or have others spoken to you about me?" Pilate replied, "See, here am I, a Jew. It is your own people and chief priests who have handed you over to me. What have you done?" Jesus replied, "Mine is not a kingdom of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my followers would have fought to prevent my being handed over to the people. But my kingdom is not of that kind." So Pilate replied, "So then you are a king?" Jesus answered, "Yes, it is you who say it. I am a king. I was born for this. I came into the world for this. And all who are on the side of truth listen to my voice." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
For many reasons, this day is one of my favorite liturgical feasts. It was on this day in 1978 that I was able to celebrate my first Mass. And it was on this day, 20 years later, that my father went home to God. So this is a particularly poignant day for me personally. And it's the climax of the liturgical year. It's the last Sunday of the liturgical year. Next Sunday, we begin the cycle again with the first Sunday of Advent, the preparation for the coming of Jesus into this world, Emmanuel, the Word made flesh. And then we move into the celebration of the Christmas season. And we move into ordinary time, which is really ordered time. It's the extraordinary action of God's grace in the everydayness of our lives. We move in then to the season of Lent, a preparation for hearing and proclaiming the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus, the Paschal Mystery, this time of preparation. We celebrate with those mysteries in Holy Week, and then we enter into the fullness of the joy of the resurrection. And we live in that Easter season contemplating Jesus' victory over sin and death. And then we move into the life of the Spirit with the celebration of Pentecost. And right after Pentecost, we move back into ordinary time, because the ordinary action of our lives is to live in the fullness of the Spirit, of God's kingdom, God's reign set free within the world. And as the end of this ordered time, of this living in the Spirit, the Church has this wonderful feast of Christ the King. Is to say, in the words of the readings that we have heard today, that peoples, all nations, all peoples, all languages will serve him. His dominion, in the book of Daniel we read, is an everlasting dominion that shall not be taken away. His kingship shall not be destroyed. After his conversion to Christianity, Bob Dylan wrote the song, "You Gotta Serve Somebody." He wrote, "You may be an ambassador to England or France. You may like to gamble. You might like to dance. You may be the heavyweight champion of the world. You may be a socialite with a long string of pearls. But you're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, indeed. You're going to have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody." The spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius are about helping us order our interior lives so that we can serve Christ Jesus as King and Lord of all aspects of our lives. We come into this world, a disordered world, and we are victims of this original sin, of a world that is not God's vision of how this would be. God's vision for this world was an original blessing, but it's become disordered, and we all participate in that. Freely we choose to disorder our lives. St. Ignatius begins the spiritual exercises by saying, first things first. The foundation on which your life should be built, the first principle to follow, is to recognize that God created us in love, for love. We are from love and for love. And all the gifts that God has given us are meant to serve that purpose of helping us understand that the greatest power that exists, the force that moves the sun and the stars, that holds the cosmos in order, is this divine love. And it's in that divine love that we are created. And the exercises begin by this call to serve the one who is the source of that love, the one who is that love. You might be a rock and roll addict prancing on the stage. You might have drugs at your command, women in a cage. You may be a businessman or some high-degree thief. They may call you doctor or they may call you chief. But you're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, indeed, you're going to have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. St. Ignatius takes us through a meditation on the life of Christ. Who is this God, man? Emmanuel, God among us, the Word made flesh. We contemplate the Scriptures. We enter into them imaginatively. And then at the very end of the spiritual exercises, St. Ignatius takes us to this contemplation to obtain divine love, to open our hearts to this divine love. And many times in the course of that meditation, Ignatius would have us pray a prayer he calls the sushi pray, or the take, Lord, receive. Lord, you've given me everything. My good looks, my intelligence, my health, my education, my family, my faith, the freedoms I enjoy in this country. It's all gift from you. And now I return it to you. I want you to be Lord and Master of every aspect of my life, not just part of my life. I want to surrender everything to you because everything I have, you've given me. And I recognize that freedom comes in serving the one who is love. You may be a preacher with your spiritual pride. You may be a city councilman taking bribes on the side. You may be working in a barber shop. You may know how to cut hair. You may be somebody's mistress, maybe somebody's heir. But you're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, indeed, you're going to have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil, or it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to learn to serve somebody. Our first reading from the book of Daniel today says, as the visions during the night continued, I saw one like the Son of Man coming on the clouds. In his homily at Rome this morning, Pope Francis picked up on that image of the night visions. And he addressed his homily to young adults today. He said, "Dear young people, may you too watch in the night for visions." What does this mean? It means letting your eyes remain bright even amidst the darkness. Never stop seeking the light amid whatever darkness we may often bear in our hearts or see around us. Lift your gaze from earth to heaven, not in order to flee, but to resist the temptation to remain imprisoned by our fears. For there is always the danger that our fears will rule us. Do not remain closed in on ourselves and our complaints. Yes, these are challenging times, are they not? It's not just the virus that continues to mutate and frustrate life as we know it. It's not just the political tensions within our government and within our society and within our families. It's not just very different understandings of the history of our nation. It's not just the challenges to our understanding of what it means to be human and a sexual being, what our identity is, the meaning of marriage, the sacredness of life. These are huge cultural debates. Pope Francis continues, "You have been entrusted with an exciting but also challenging task to stand tall while everything around us seems to be collapsing. To be sentinels, prepared to see the light in night visions. To be builders amid the many ruins of today's world, to be capable of dreaming." This is crucial. A young person unable to dream has sadly become old before their time. To be capable of dreaming, because this is what people who dream do. They do not remain in the darkness. They light a candle, a flame of hope that announces the coming of the dawn. Dream, make haste, and look to the future with courage. Many of your dreams are the same dreams as those of the gospel. Fraternity, solidarity, justice, peace. These are Jesus' own dreams for us, for humanity. Do not be afraid to encounter Jesus. He loves your dreams and helps you to make them come true. You may be a construction worker working on a home. You may be living in a mansion, or you might live in a dome. You might own guns, and you might even own tanks. You might be somebody's landlord. You might even own banks. But you're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, you're going to have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil or it may be the Lord. But you're going to have to serve somebody. In today's gospel, Jesus stands before Pilate, the representative of the greatest political military force in the world at Jesus' time. And Jesus stands before Pilate unafraid. Unambiguously, he says, "Yes, I am a king. I was born for this. I came into the world for this." But let's be clear, my kingdom is not like your power. My kingdom is of a different kind. It's a kingdom of love, not domination. It's a kingdom of freedom, not coercion and force. Pope Francis reflects on this and he says, Jesus' freedom draws us in. Let us allow it to resonate within us, to challenge us, to awaken in us the courage that is born of truth. Let us ask ourselves, were I in Pilate's place, looking Jesus in the eye, what would I be ashamed of? Faced with the truth of Jesus, what are the ways I'm deceitful or duplicitous? The ways I displease Jesus? Each of us will find such ways. Look for them, seek them out. We all have these duplicities, these compromises, this arranging things so that the cross will go away. You might like to wear cotton. You might like to wear silk. You might like to drink whiskey. You might like to drink milk. You might like to eat caviar. You might like to eat bread. You may be sleeping on the floor, sleeping on a king-size bed. But you're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, indeed, you're going to have to serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. Pope Francis continues, in this way, with the freedom of Jesus, we find the courage we need to swim against the current. Not the daily temptation to swim against other people, like those perpetual victims and conspiracy theorists who are always casting blame or doubt on others, but rather against the unhealthy current of our own selfishness, closed-mindedness, rigidity that often seeks like-minded groups to serve. Not this, but swimming against the tide so as to become more like Jesus. You're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, you're going to have to serve somebody. It may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. Pope Francis concludes, be passionate about truth, so that with your dreams you can say, my life is not captive to the mindset of the world. I am free because I reign with Jesus for justice, love, and peace. I'm a dreamer, dazzled by the light of the gospel, and I watch with hope in the night visions. And whenever I fall, I discover anew in Jesus the courage to continue fighting and hoping, the courage to keep dreaming at every stage of my life. Amen? Amen.
Heart to heart, hand in hand, praying for grace to understand. Spirit